just initially, like when I was like reading your story, like you're talking about how, you know, that 15 years of just pretty much hell. Yeah. And it's something I fully relate with as well, because I think maybe it was that 2000s era where it was just like stick thin. Anyone who was called fat on America's Next Top Model was like a size 6, and you're like, what's going on?
Yeah.
So like, could you tell me more about that?
Yeah, dude. So I just turned 35, so I'm a little bit older, but
Yeah.
the same sort of scenario, you know, that early sort of 2000s period. So I was like with the Spice Girls when I was like 12, and we found out later, I think a couple of them have admitted to having eating disorders back then, and they weren't portrayed like that at all. That was the ideal. And then we moved into that heroin chic, the cocaine chic or whatever, and it was like Kate Moss was big even in that 2000 era for us.
Right.
And the Victoria's Secret model, and Nicole Richie was someone, I don't know if you
Nicole Richie and Paris Hilton like them.
Because Nicole went from being on the Simple Life.
Yeah, Simple Life, yeah.
Paris as being like the fat friend. And this is just the language people use. Like, it wasn't, you wouldn't really say that these days.
No,
right?
no.
And then she lost all of this weight, and it was like, oh, you know, her life magically changed, and look at all the success she's got now because she's lost all this weight. And she got very small. And she's quite a small human. I'm like 5'1", I'm quite small too. And I was like, that's it. That's my idol. Like, that's who I'm going to look up to. And I just remember like Pinterest boards filled with Nicole Richie. And I'm just like, this is who I need to be happy. And I was like, man, when you're 15, 16, there's a lot happening. Like, there's a lot happening. It's like happening in your brain. You're trying to figure yourself out.
Yeah.
School's a bit weird at that age. Everyone's a bit weird.
Yeah.
And so I think it really just gave me something like to focus on and start controlling. And I think we also had a situation where one of my friends came back over like summer break and had lost like 10 kilos, and her popularity skyrocketed. Yeah.
Yep.
Have you got a similar story or something?
It was mine. It was mine, actually. But like, I mean, I don't want to interrupt your story, but like, I was like 110 kilos. Like, that was like the peak of like where I got. I mean, I'm tall, like you saw, but like, once I lost 40 kilos, the world 180%. Like, it was like 180 degrees, sorry.
Yeah.
And it was, people were opening doors for me. People were giving me free shit. And then all of a sudden, all the guys who never paid attention now, they're like, hi. I'm like, oh my God, is this what it means? Literally, nothing's changed on the inside.
Yeah.
Even now, I still have that like fat girl sort of like mentality of that insecurity, the still crippling insecurity sometimes, where I'm like, I'm still picking a size 12. And I'm like, even though I'm this size, and even still thinking about size is just a massive mindfuck. But like, long story short, that my life and how people perceive me completely changed. And I just realized how superficial the world is, you know?
Yeah.
So even now, in a way, it's sort of like how you're saying popularity goes up, everything. It's like, you kind of also start to resent that, because you're like, they don't give a shit about me. If I gained weight again, they'll just disappear, you know?
It really does open your eyes when you go through that. And it's such an interesting experience too for people who have always had that, how life feels for them. It's a really interesting topic to start talking about.